Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Voices of Hult. It is your normal and regular and the one you're used to host here. I'm Daniela. Nice to see you guys. Welcome back to another Friday episode. So today I'm very excited because we not only have one amazing invitee, but we also have Matthew here, who is the first time is in front of a camera. He's been part of the Voices of Hult team for a while now, since September, but it's his first episode. Are you excited?
Yes, I'm so excited to be here, finally.
And I am excited that we have you here. Thank you very much for accompanying me and being my co-host today. So last but not least, and to big introduction, we have Mr. Matthew Ogieva. He is a Hult alumni. He was part of our Hult family and is here to share the details and insights of how to go from a Hult alumni to a successful businessman in America. Especially how to navigate this landscape as an international student, as someone who's from another side of the world, and that then transformed into a very successful person. So he's going to give us all the details. And to start off, of course, we would like to ask you, where are you from? Because that's very important. I think that's one of the most important facts when we talk about you as a person.
Yeah, I'm from Nigeria, so I'm a Nigerian.
Perfect. Great. When did you graduate Hult?
Yeah, I graduated from Hult 2021 MBA.
So it was only 4 years ago.
The pandemic MBA.
The pandemic MBA,
It was a special program in the sense that we are running our MBA during lockdown, during the social distancing and everything. So it was quite very different from what I see on campus now.
Yeah, I guess that's like one of the most important facts, and we always talk about this in our episodes and in general, how much of a family we are, and we're always gathering together. There are so many activities. We just celebrated Brazilian Carnival, and there was everything gathering together, everyone on the atrium, and it was super fun. So it probably was tough and a very different experience to you to have to experience some social distancing from people.
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was tough because you see, part of coming to the campus is to have the opportunity to engage with your fellow students,
foster connections,
to be able to connect with people and have a lot of activities, and so that's really affected it, but at the same time that also brought us something different from us, you understand? So that's why that set, there's something unique about that set.
I like your positive attitude. It's always good to have some optimism there, and we all know that the pandemic changed everybody's lives, and I feel like some people decided to take it as a challenge and understand that this was most of our learning experience. We understand that sadly a lot of people did lose their lives in between the pandemic, but a lot of people that just stayed in this world, like us, who had the pleasure to and who had the actual virtue of just not suffering from this pandemic, big hits on our life and health. We have to take this as a learning experience, and knowing now and beyond, we appreciate life and the simple moments more than we used to. So let's hop on the interesting questions. And I know, and we know that you've been both on both sides. You know, you've been on the side of a student that we are right now, and you've also been now as the side of an entrepreneur and a businessman. So can you tell us about your experience at Hult and how Hult shaped your path to make you who you are today?
Yes, that's a very good question to start with, you understand? And nice seeing you and then doing this for the first time. Yeah. So when you look at it, everything for me started from Hult. You understand? Because I came to the US because I came to Boston to run an MBA in Hult business, international business school. So that was my point of beginning, the new beginning. That was the point. So the first engagement, the friends, the network started from Hult. So now when you look at that, now transitioning from being a student into being an entrepreneur in the US. First, I had an MBA, so that gave me the confidence that okay, yeah, you've read the books, you've been taught, you can improve on what you know. You understand? However, I was already in entrepreneurship. You understand? I've been in entrepreneurship for 15 years. My first company was incorporated. February was 15 years. My first company was incorporated. So coming here, but it was a different thing because you're coming here and you're thinking of running a business in a very different geography.
Yeah, very different landscape.
The landscape, the culture is different. The expectation is different. How do you navigate it? So the point of having the first mentor I had was from Hult in terms of professional, because the first person you know that's professional is your faculty, you understand? So had Professor Rob Anthony very close to me, so had that drive to do it. Now, it wasn't that easy because there was no clarity. Like I always tell the story, the first time I went to the career desk and I was like in front of the lady and she was so excited, you understand? How you doing? You understand? So let's talk about what you want to do. And I guess she didn't expect the question I was to ask. How do I set up my business and run it in the US? And she was taken aback. And she gave me an answer, you understand? But the answer for me was not satisfactory because the normal thing people would say, okay, you graduate, you get a job, after you've worked for a while, then you go into entrepreneurship. And I was like, if I have to go into entrepreneurship, I have my MBA knowledge. You understand? I have to make use of it. And one thing about entrepreneurship that is key is that the passion. If you have the passion, it's burning. You have to make use of that passion. So I wasn't comfortable with that. So I had to find ways to, okay, first, how do you even register your company in the US? I have to navigate that. I have to, okay, what are the requirements? What would be needed? I had to start putting these things together. So by the time I graduated, I set up the company. I opened it, but then you have a company that is registered.
And
so
what
do you
else?
do? So that's another step. So entrepreneurship is always a journey. It's a journey. So it's not like, okay, yeah. That's why when people say, oh, you're a successful businessman, I was like, the only person I want to hear that from is my wife. Because she's the one that really knows, you understand, the life of being an entrepreneur, especially at the early stage where you have all the delayed gratification and everything. You might have the money in the account, but you can touch it because, it's not your money and stuff like that. So the way you analyze the success is different. However, the fact that you've been able to navigate something and you still doing it sustainably, that's a level of success. And I'm not going to push that aside. The fact that you've been able to set out, this is what I want to do, and you're doing it. 1 year you're doing it. 2 years you're doing it. Plus 3 years you're doing it. That's something. And that's something that I like to share, to encourage people. Not to let people know that it's difficult, it's not easy. Running a business is tough. However, it is possible. Why? Because people have done it. That's the greatest motivation. Yeah. You understand? If somebody from Hult could navigate it, you can. And I can lean on things that people can benefit now that I didn't have. I can tell you, oh, go this way. I can mentor people. But I didn't have those privileges, and now that's what makes the story even more impactful.
I agree. The impact that you give is not only for yourself and your family, but also for the outsiders, people that you can mentor, and how you can share your voice like you're doing just right now, inspiring others. Sometimes it's really hard to explore the landscape of being an international student and then coming up to next up, what else? Like right now, I'm a person who's doing OPT. Well, this is just an example. This is not my case. But a lot of people are like, I just graduated. I got OPT. What from now? And if you want to be an entrepreneur, yeah, just like you said, you can look up how to register your company. Probably you can do it online these days and just pay a fee. But after that, what else? If there's a company under my name, Daniela Inc., what is Daniela Inc.? I'm not going to do anything from that. So having those tapes and having people like you who inspire others and them, our listeners and viewers, knowing that they could reach out to you at any point and ask you, hey, can we meet up for a coffee or make a Zoom call? Because I would really like your advice. That is one of the most important things that you can do to make impact in other people's lives.
Yeah.
Yes, that's very possible. But at the same time, how many people can I reach? So there must be a system or a structure where you can give back to the community. Because if there's one thing that an entrepreneur needs, is time.
Yeah.
Because there's so much to do. So I might not have a lot of that time to give to people individually, but there are ways that I can give back. Like any opportunity to come back here and impact, yeah, I would take it. Like this now, you understand? I can say, okay, you can do a podcast, and you maybe open up a couple of hours space in your day, and that can impact a whole lot more people. You can
Then one-on-ones,
have
yeah.
an event that can just guide people on how to go. Because the most important thing is that as an entrepreneur, you would do the work yourself. You will go through the journey yourself. What people can do for you is to guide you, is to give you a compass to work with. Because at the end of the day, the very ingredients of entrepreneurship is in the entrepreneur. Because the entrepreneur is the biggest resource.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have that resource, then it's difficult for any other person to impact. But if you have the resource, it's inside of you. You can express it. And all you need is how to express it. And being in Boston is one of the best things that can happen to you. Boston is the capital of innovation
I agree.
in the U.S. It's the capital of education in the U.S. So there's no better place to start up your business.
The magical city.
Yeah.
Definitely. So just like you, many international students actually dream of starting their own businesses, but they may face some immigration challenges. So can you share something about your experience navigating student immigration legalities like OPT and H1B?
Yeah, the immigration challenge is huge. That's a big part of it, you understand? Because when you come in as a student, you're on your F1 visa, you understand? From your F1 visa, you have your OPT. From your OPT, you get a job, you understand? And maybe you go into the raffle or the lottery for H1B, you understand it? And that's the natural part, you understand, for students that want to become professionals within the American workspace. Now, if you decide to take the route I took, after graduation, you have to get into remaining in status, you understand? So first thing, you understand, what I did, I was like, yeah, that's where the hot help stick comes in, you understand? Because the system is there, you understand? I became a teaching assistant, what you call TA, you understand? That extended my OPT, and as I started thinking of what to do, I eventually found out that you could go through the employment-based visa, which is the EB1 or EB2. So I went through EB1, you understand, exceptional ability, and I was approved and I became a permanent resident through that route. So that's also subject to the fact that I had experience, exposure, and expertise coming into it. Yeah, some people might not have that, so they can also try the EB2. You understand? But whichever way, that's a challenge. And that on its own is an added challenge to being an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
However, like I say, these things are possible. You understand?
And you're proof of it.
Yeah, I did these things without knowing somebody that has done it and succeeded before me. I just say, okay, it's possible theoretically. You understand? So let me give it a try, and I put everything in. You understand? I met people that supported me. You understand? So, like Janet supported me, you understand, to have the EB1 application go through. You understand? She is also an alumni of Hult. So that, like I say, you make use of what you have. What you have is the space, the institution. So having to benefit from this institution is not just your certificate. You benefit from the relationship you have with the academic staff, non-academic staff, with your fellow students. You can just meet up someone in an assignment, a group assignment, and you just click, and that person becomes a friend or becomes someone you can do life with. There are people that they've finished their programs from 5, 10, 15 years ago, and they're still very close, you understand? And they're still benefiting from the fact that Hult brought them together. So the farther we're in the space where we have you're from Norway and you're
Yes.
from Dominican Republic. I'm from Nigeria, you understand? And we are sitting and having a hot podcast. If I step out of there, the next 10 people I meet might most likely be from 10 different countries. And that's what Hult, you understand, is about. So it's something that is possible, you understand? It's something that you also have to carefully look at your strength and how to navigate it.
I really like that you mentioned how important, because for me, that's one of the major perks of going to business school, is that everybody becomes a contact. And people that you know and you like and are friends with are also people that possibly in the future can help you out, like your friend help you. So these people have an impact on your life that it's beyond just being a fellow student. It's someone that can guide you around. Some people meet their love of their lives, or some people meet someone who's their business partner forever. So, and explore an idea and win prizes like Hult Prize, for example. So there are so many opportunities that I feel like in a small space like Hult, which is a smaller school, you can navigate because it is a smaller school, and because it is an international school that has so many perks and makes you develop so many different advantages that maybe other spaces where people are more like you, you cannot experience.
True.
So moving up, we have, what strategy did you use to network and meet people in the industry you wanted to join? You were talking about the importance of mentorship, but also about the importance of reflecting yourself, of seeing someone that is successful and saying, I want to be like this person. And if this person made it happen, I can make it happen in some way. So how did you navigate that networking space?
Yeah, for me, networking space, the key to networking space is one, being genuine, being yourself. You understand? And two, building trust. It's not just about meeting somebody and picking the person's card. You understand? Do you reflect yourself as someone that is not just well-dressed, but genuine in your approach of engaging the person? then do you build trust? You understand? Because some people, for me, the strategy is when I meet anybody, I want to leave a value. I want to leave a value. No matter what, the first thing I think about is not what I'm going to get from the engagement. It's leaving a value. Like, it's as simple as, let's say typically a large number of hot students want to get a job. You want to work somewhere. You understand? It's not everybody that is going to be, very few percentage will go into entrepreneurship. So you want to work somewhere. You meet somebody you're not just going to barge into the person and like, I want to work here, or you understand? So you have to leave a value, like the organization. What do you like about the organization? Yeah. It's as simple as that. Oh, you work in XYZ. You understand? Oh, I love the way you guys pay attention to your customers. And what will happen? Naturally, this person will be excited. And the person wants to hear more. You say, no, I love you. I saw there was this. When you leave that, within that 30 seconds, 1 minute, you've left an impression.
I love that advice.
When the person is taking your content or you're taking the person's, you understand, you've already built an image in the person's mind and in the person's. The little conversations, before we set up for this, the little conversations we were having, those would be more impactful than this session. Mm-hmm. Because you're doing what you have to do. But those conversations, you understand it? Those little things, how you doing? Hope, I know you're a very busy person. How do you manage to balance your work and your family time? You see, this person would feel that you care.
That you show interest in them.
You show interest in them. Because most times when you see people, the first thing, even when people want to reach out to you on LinkedIn, they just comment, oh, we want you to solve this for us. So you need to build that. When you build that, you soothe yourself into that. And when you soothe yourself into people, now they want to know the value that they can reciprocate for you. And most times they will do more than you can even demand from them.
And they can
because
like you.
Because they are reciprocating.
Yeah.
So
they want to give it to you.
Yeah. That's, for me, I don't meet people and just like, oh, this is what I want. No. What value can you add? You come into the hot space. What value? Like, you're adding value. Had a conversation with you. You told me you walking with the career desk. You jump into the podcast. You jump out of the podcast. You go into a class. You understand? You're adding value to the system. So it's only normal and natural for reciprocation to come in different ways.
Yeah.
And that's how you build genuine relationship and connections, which are very vital for success in life. Anything you do, you need people.
I love that. You need people.
You can't do anything alone. I can run a successful business alone. I need people.
We're having our TEDx, our first TEDx, and I'm part of the PR team and the organization team. And our theme is people change people. And I love that you're saying that, because it is exactly what we're aiming for, to bring speakers that will share that, how people impact people. People,
you understand?
You need people to be successful.
You develop your people skill. Mm-hmm. Because you're not going to do it alone. I can do what our business do alone.
Yeah.
You understand? I have to do it with a team. And beyond that team, I have to work with strategic partners. I have to relate with them appropriately.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurship is full of challenges, and it's not always you meet like-minded people like yourself. And starting a business is tough in itself, but if you don't have people who want to bring value to you, but just take, that's not easy. So what are some of the biggest challenges that you have faced, and how did you push through it?
That's a brilliant question. And you know, there are some questions, it just resonates with me. Now, when you look at it, for me, the biggest challenge was clarity.
It was.
Clarity. So it was like a maze. I didn't have that clarity on how to do, what to do, when to do, where to do, how to do. But I know I want to do. And that's where the passion comes. You have that passion to do something, you understand? Now, you now have to answer these questions. That's why I say you have to look at it. You have to analyze. You have to look at the immigration concerns. If you do not have, for example, a profile that can give you an EB1, do you have a profile that will give you an EB2? Or do you have a profile that will open you up to other kinds of applications that would settle your immigrations? If you do not have that, then you can decide, okay, let me work for a year or 2 years. So you understand, settle that, build that, you understand, then come back to this.
Pay taxes.
You understand? So these are the reality of engagement. And that's why there's no formula to entrepreneurship. I can't stay here and sit here rather and say, this is what would be, or this is what should be, or this is how. No. You have to look at life and you navigate your path. For some, what might be my challenge might not be your challenge.
That's true.
You understand? You find out what your challenge is. First thing, get clarity. So once you have clarity of a problem, it's halfway solved. Because when you know, okay, this is the problem, this is the magnitude of the problem, this is what it actually is, by breaking it down, then you can say, this I can handle myself, this I need partners to handle, and this I need to pray that the opportunity to solve it shows up, and maybe possibly prepare for that opportunity. So that's it. Then when I want to look at how engaging these challenges, first thing, you have to be adaptive. Mm-hmm. And that's not something that we don't have around here. You understand? We're in an organization, educational institution, where 70-80% of the students are studying in their second or even third language. Mm-hmm. Wow. You get what I'm saying? You're studying
in my second language.
Language, and you?
My third.
Your third language.
No, my second.
Your second.
Course, my second, yeah.
You understand? So, for me, you understand, I schooled all my life in English. You understand? So, that was an advantage for me, because I know back then, and I have friends that they know what they want to say,
but they can't say it.
But they can't say it because of the language barrier. But they'll find a way. Thank God there's technology now. You understand? You can transcribe. You can do different things. You understand? So these challenges will come, but you need to be adaptive, and you need to also be flexible. Mm-hmm. Your ability to be flexible would help you in navigating the cultural nuances, navigating the economic nuances, and navigating even the intellectual. Because sometimes you need to unlearn what you already know and relearn something different. Because if you're coming from a different culture, you already programmed a particular way. That might not work here. Mm-hmm. And if it's something that is not working here, then you need to ask the question, what works here? Yeah. Then you start to learn what works here. If you want to do business in this space, you need to learn the business laws in this space. You need to learn the tax system in this place. You need to learn how opportunities avail itself in this place. You need to learn all these things. Exactly. And these are the things that would make you successful.
I love that. And I mostly want to now, since you've been talking about everything and how you navigate the landscape, I want to mix two questions. One part is I'm going to ask you, how do you navigate a city that you're in? We were talking about how important it is to know the place you're at. So you mentioned how important it is then. So how do you navigate that, and how do you feel? Why do you feel like it's important to know the city, the place, the state, the country you are doing business in, plus also doing the trends, navigating these trends. Trends in general, there are business trends, there are marketing trends, but their most important ones are emerging technologies and innovation trends. We're talking about things like sustainability. And we're talking about more complex things, like if you're navigating some automatization when it comes to business, you were giving a service, maybe you won't have a person, but an AI that answers the phone. So those kind of things are important to someone like you, who is an entrepreneur and will always be an entrepreneur, and will navigate the landscape of businesses in the future as well. So how do you see the future, and you try to implement this in your new and current ideas, both living in a completely different city and navigating that landscape and including the innovation and trends?
Yeah, thank you for the question. First thing I have to talk about is when I came to Boston. I still remember one of my colleagues, when we talked, he said, "What? We've all left Boston. You're still in Boston, and you said you didn't like Boston then." You know, so that's it, because I come into the city. One, it was very cold. I told you about the time, you understand, leaving Lagos, equivalent of what we call summer here, and flying straight into the heart of winter, surrounded by snow and cold and everything. So it wasn't a good beginning in terms of adjusting into the city. But eventually, I dealt with that. And the next thing is, Boston is lovely.
I love Boston.
Boston
I hate the cold too, but I love Boston.
But Boston is lovely. For me, Boston is not too big a city, and it's also not too small a city.
Exactly.
It's just like
the perfect size.
You understand? That's one piece of it. Then another piece of it is you in a space where you meet very intelligent people. The intelligence quotient of the space we are in, let's say, for example, this location we're in, 5 miles radius, is about the highest anywhere in the world. There are geniuses everywhere around here.
That's true.
There are smart people everywhere around here. And if you want to do something that you think will impact your world, where should you be? And that comes into the innovativeness and into the emerging technologies that you get to. Now, for me, I knew I needed to be in a space where I can impact my world the way I think I should impact, where I have to be confronted with a very challenge. Because there's one thing to succeed somewhere, and there's another thing to succeed in Boston. Mm-hmm. By the time I was having a conversation with someone, and I said, look at all the companies. There must be something around Boston. Either it was started in Boston, or the founders school in Boston, or the conceptualization of the business started in Boston, or the testing.
It's done in Boston.
So that's
all the healthcare companies, the big hospitals,
the tech companies, you understand? Or you can imagine even Silicon Valley. You know, the impact of Boston on Silicon Valley. The graduates that are leaving the city, what are they living with? They're living with a world-class education. They're living with the innovative ideas, and they go into these markets and they push it out. And that's what you have. That's what you have. And that's what Hot Boston gives. Mm-hmm. You understand? You might be living in Cambridge across the road there, And you might even be sharing a room or an apartment with an MIT student, an Harvard student, and you see everybody mix and everything. And sometimes there's really no much difference that you didn't even go to these schools.
Yeah.
Because you connect. If there's a meet in Harvard, everybody is there. If there's another one in MIT, everybody is there. We are taking advantage of the innovative opportunities there. And what is innovation? In a simple term, innovation is just getting to add advantage on what is already existing. So whatever you want to do to be innovative in that thing is to come to the table with an added value. So we are talking about networking the other time, you understand? How do you become an innovative networker? How can 10 people introduce themselves to one person and you stand out of all those introductions? Like I would not walk up to anybody, I'm a student of Hult International Business School, I'm looking for internship. I wouldn't ask that question. You want to add value. Go to the person, look for a value you can add. By the time you add a value,
that person wants to hire you.
The person already would be able to differentiate you from the 10 people
that came. I went in an internship.
Then when you, maybe in the second conversation, or the person cannot reach back and say, actually, what do you do? I'm a student now, you understand? And the next thing in my mind is to be an intern in an organization like yours. And they say, okay, we can help you. That's how it works. Mm-hmm. Innovativeness is adding value. Healthcare system, healthcare industry, there are young lads there, great minds out there. And what are they doing? They're studying, they're thinking out ways to add values.
That's really good advice.
Yeah.
So now that we know how you've navigated, you've given us so much good advice, and you've inspired us right now.
Thank you.
I would love for you to share more on your businesses, your books. How is it? Because I said you're a successful man, but you have to tell them why. So maybe explain a little bit about what I figured is success, and I translate as success.
Yeah, for me, let me start with the last one. What do I figure as success? You understand? If I can impact the next person in fulfilling that desire, that dream, that goal, that purpose, you understand, then I see myself as successful. So if this podcast, this conversation can fulfill that in the listener, I see myself as successful sitting down here, or the time worth it, or something like that. So for business, it's the same way, you understand. My business has to add value to other businesses, you understand. And my business is Business Reimagined Incorporated, is in downtown Boston here. We scale businesses. So now, businesses are in three categories: the small businesses, the medium business, and the large enterprises. So for the small businesses, you set them up. So you give them the right foundation, the structure. How do you incorporate appropriately? How do you set up your books and processes? How do you work on your finances? You understand the flow of funds to run the business, because funds is like veins to run in a business. So the funds have to keep flowing for you to run your business. So you do that for the small businesses. Then for the medium businesses, you scale them through processes. So how do you set up processes? How do you set up strategies? Now, how do you go into the market? How do you dominate the market? How do you target a segment of the market? How do you segment the market to take a portion of it? Or how do you scale your operations? How do you optimize your operations? So for the medium scale, that's where you are. And then there's also a bit of leadership development, because for the medium organizations, you are now growing. A team of 100, a team of 500, a team of 50, depending on the kind of operations you do. So how do you develop leaders within that space? Then for the large enterprises, the services we render for them is how do you move from a market to another market geographically. Let's say, for example, the US market is largely saturated, and there are emerging markets in Africa and Asia, and part of Europe, and even the Caribbean and Latin America. So how do you go into these markets? Mm-hmm. There's what they call the blue ocean strategy. Yeah. So how do you strategize to go into these new territories? And you also look at engaging both the medium enterprise, even the small businesses. How do you engage emerging technologies in enhancing your business? A little AI prompt can give you leads. Yeah. You understand? It can optimize your business or your output. You understand? So these little things here and there are the things that we, as a management consulting firm, we have businesses understanding and go. And talking about my book, you understand, the recent one, the first one was Why Positive Attitude is All You Need. That's clear. It's a book on leadership, self-development, clearly looking at attitude as a means to develop yourself, your brand, and become eventual success. Then the recent book is Engaging in Conveying Influence. So it's largely about how do you communicate values. So value communication. And the flip side of it is that it's a transgenerational story. So I kind of depict how my late dad's teacher taught him values that he passed to me, that I, as a management consultant, I now pass to people and organization. You understand? Because now I build leadership frameworks for organization, and I coach leaders. You understand? So these are the things that we are put in the book in a way to have people understand that leadership is essential to you fulfilling to you fulfilling the very core of what you want to actualize. Because it will get to a point, what you can do alone is limited. But when you set up that structure where the processes and the people alignment, like there's a strategy that in our organization we call the 3 Ps. So we talk about the people, we talk about the process, and we talk about the planet. When we talk about the people, we talk about the teams, the leadership. Then when we talk about the process, we talk about optimization. Is it market optimization? Is it people optimization? Is it operations optimization? Which can also be like supply chain optimization. Then the last one is the planet. So which means that's the sustainability part. Whatever you do, it has to be sustainable. If you're successful today, how do you make your success sustainable? Would you be successful in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years? Because we know, growing up, I knew Fortune 100 companies that were top in their different industries when I was growing up. Many of them don't exist today.
No.
Why? Because they were not sustainable. And do you give back to the planet, the environment? You understand? So that's why you see when I'm invited to Hult, I come back. Because that's my way of giving back to the planet. So if I've been a student and people see me as successful, I should find a way to reflect that which they see as success back to them.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for taking this time and sharing insights with you. We've got to almost the end of our episode, and my favorite part of all, which is where we pop a question from a past guest, and then you get to leave a question for our next guest that you don't know who's going to be. If it's a professor, if it's an alumni, if it's part of the staff, if it's a Hult Prize competitor, you have no idea, and I am not going to tell you. So will you do us the honor, Matthias, of saying the question from the last guest?
So before we go, what is a silly or goofy thing that you'll do this week that will take you out of your comfort zone?
Yeah.
After this podcast.
Yeah, I think it will be walking into a coffee shop
Okay.
and walking up to anybody I meet, the first person I meet, and just striking off a conversation.
And see if you can give some value to that person.
Maybe not that. Obviously, while you engage people, you give out value. But that's not comfortable in this environment. You can just walk up to people. But sometimes I just
You do it for fun.
do it. Just
let me make this person uncomfortable and try to have a conversation.
Hello, just strike up
Hello, who are you? Where are you from? Do you have a family?
odd conversation.
You never know who you're going to meet.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's not within my comfort
You know, what
zone.
if you go and you tell someone in that coffee shop, hello, who are you? And they're like, hi, my name is this and that, and I am the CEO of Converse. And you're like, oh, what a great person to meet.
Look, but the truth of the matter is, in Cambridge, that kind of conversation
Can happen.
It's not something that is impossible. You meet people and you understand.
It happened to me.
Yeah.
I was at a conference at Harvard being a volunteer, and I sat down in a lunch table with random people, didn't know who they were. And this guy, he didn't seem very old or very young, just like in middle age. And he was just, oh, who are you? You know, chatting. And then in the end, he was asking me, there was problems with Argentina, since I'm from Latin America. He was asking me like, oh, what do you think about this and that? And we were just having a nice conversation. In the end, he goes, yeah, and why are you interested in VC? Because it was a venture capital conference. And I was, well, because of this and that. My parents have always been in business, but I like the side of VC, especially because it's a field that hasn't been explored by females so much, blah, blah, blah. And I feel like females should be writing checks. And he goes, and he's like, oh, I like that. You know, I am the CEO of the biggest VC firm in the whole state of California. And I go, what? That was just a random conversation that I had with this guy, and it's stuff that only happens in Cambridge.
Yeah, it happens. You understand? Like, you have neighbors. You understand? Sometimes just strike a conversation with your neighbors. You won't believe the next door partner. You know, it's actually solving one of the world global problems.
Yeah.
And I had someone who was like, I am working on the vaccine. Mm-hmm. You understand? My team did this, did that. You understand? You're like, literally, your team saved the world.
Yeah.
And you say, okay, I'm the leader of this team. So you see that. You understand? Because I lived in Cambridge, and just behind me was Moderna, Pfizer, MIT, you understand? And you meet these people that work there and doing amazing, great things. So that's what you see, you understand? You see people live regular life. They are just exceptional lecturers from Harvard, you understand, or MIT, you understand? And you're just like, wow, this lecturer that is one of the top 2, top 3 in the field, you understand? So things like that would really fascinate you, and sometimes those are the day-to-day inspiration you get when you live in a city like Cambridge or in Boston.
I love it. And I love how this Silly, goofy question developed into something much more deep, but also touching up on you should have uncomfortable conversations sometimes. Love that. So to close up with a nice thing, what is the question you can leave for our next guest?
Oh, you didn't tell me this. I would have thought of something. Now, thinking about a question on the sports. The person should talk about the greatest weakness.
Okay. Their greatest weakness. That is tough. That is tough.
Yeah, the guest before me gave me a tough one.
Well, thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Matthias, for your bravery of also being here with us, and you guys for sharing our time. And thank you to our viewers and listeners
Thank
for
you, guys.
always being here.
Yeah,
I hope
nice
you
being here.
enjoyed this as much as we did. Bye-bye.
Bye.